Hey, what's up and welcome guys to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 11 of What If Naruto Was an Emotionless Ghost. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this stuff with your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Too Advanced for His Age that I post on this channel, and enjoy that guys. And over on Anime King 3, I post a new episode of What If Naruto had the Renitenzagon, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And over on Anime King, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Became the God of Lightning, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy as well. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button. All link will be down in the description for Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3 guys. So go ahead and become a part of all of the channels, and thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. And yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Naruto was currently facing off against Deidara inside the Forest of Death, as he had dragged him there along with his perfect shooting of his bow and arrow. As Deidara was coming after him to murder him, summoning his clay dragon, Naruto was able to knock him off it. Deidara ended up destroying everything around, so Naruto no longer have a hiding spot. Everything was destroyed. As Naruto came out in the opening, as Deidara asked him where was the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, he was around his age, so Deidara asked him where he was. As Naruto decided to buy some time by talking to him, that was the best course of action you see right here. But Deidara came to attack Naruto as he had enough. The kid didn't know anything, but Anko came in and knocked away Deidara. And the battle began as the two of them started to chase after him. Deidara was able to get the drop on them and exploded, as it ended up hurting Anko, knocking her away, as Naruto summoned his rat, who called 100 rats, as they made their way swarming Deidara, but he used his bird to explode them. It was then that Team 8 arrived as Hinata, Shino, and Kiba, and Naruto went after Deidara, who was run low on chakra as he went underground. As Naruto started to talk to them, as Kiba talked about the past and what happened on their mission when they went to retrieve Sasuke, and about what happened that messed up many of their members, including Shikamaru and the others. As Naruto never knew, he never even knew Shikamaru. They continued on though, as Shino told him that it would be best if they captured Deidara. As they made their way, they were able to catch up on Deidara as he started to battle him. But he wasn't an S-rank Newton for nothing, as he started to handle each and every one of them, allowing Naruto to see that there was no other point. As he fired, and as usual, he slipped right through Deidara's skull, killing him as his body dropped to the ground. They brought him back to Konoha, which was, well, in the center, was a bit destroyed, as Natty was there cleaning her nails, as she had just dropped the beatdown on Sasori, completely obliterating him and his puppets. She gave Team 8 the time off and told Naruto to go to the hospital now, as Anko also needs some treatment as well. Naruto wasn't even supposed to be to the hospital. Making his way there, Shizune had came to check upon him. He was badly damaged, yes, but given that he was fighting, he wasn't even recognizing it. She ended up getting restraints and tied him down after injecting him, as Naruto started to pass out as he saw Sakura standing there. When he woke up, Tsunade came to greet him, as she started to speak to him, talking about his seal. Naruto sealed away a memory, and whatever it was, it must be quite tragic because it will affect him very soon, and she knew that it would be bad if it just burst out on him like that. So he needs to come to terms with it, and he needs to release it to find out what he sealed away, because not even him himself knew. But if it was something to trouble him that badly, it must be badly disturbing. As she started to speak to him so kindly, Naruto wondered why did she care, as she had the entire village to worry about. Not used to love like this, he did not understand, as she told him that she cared about him as well. He had a few questions that he wants someone to help him to train him, well, in different ninjutsu art, like also channeling chakra towards his bow, seeing that he was outclassed by Deidara back there. And he wanted to know why there was an envoy at his door, as he wondered if someone tried to kill him while he was sleeping. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the PlayStation check out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? Why is there an envoy outside my door? Naruto asks. Tsunade sighed. Sakura did not take well to your return. We thought that she got over Sasuke's defection, but it seems she held out hope that you would return. Silly girl. When she saw you have returned, she worked out what must have happened. I have to give her credit for that. She tried to kill you one night, but Shizune stopped her. She really wanted you dead. You killed both her teammates, one who she loved, and one who she thought would bring the other back. Naruto nodded. That wasn't entirely unexpected. Sakura had been nothing but hostile to him in the past, and his actions must have angered her further. Yet he had done only what was correct to do. She is Inti and I, not being questioned, just given time to think about what she was going to do. I have to go and talk to her next. Hopefully, she will give up her grudge. Naruto accepted the information. When he was out of his place on his feet, he would be safe enough from her. Tsunade tapped her finger on the bedside table. Oh yes. I also came to check on your medical well-being. I knew I forgot something. As she schemed his chart in about 10 seconds. Well, your body is still not in good shape. The fact is, I should have never allowed you to escape from the hospital the first time. Your nutrients balance is down again. When did you last eat? She asked. He thought about it. He couldn't remember. I'm unsure, he said. She sighed. You're in a hand to her here. You really are a machine. You don't know when to stop. You need to eat regularly and sleep regularly. If you don't, your body will stop working properly and you will die. What do you like eating? She asked. Naruto considered. The Akamichi food had been good when he had it the first time in the hospital, but it was a necessary, not luxury food. What else had he ever eaten? He never really paid much attention aside from eating a balanced diet. He did have one memory, an old memory, very old one. A kindly, middle-aged man in a boot, a much younger Naruto, sitting on a big stool, with the Hokage telling him that it will be someone that will be taking care of him as the boat then arrived. And he saw it. Tsunade smiled. She saw a tiny amount of drool form on his lips. A good memory, she said. He snapped out of the memory. There was a noodle and broth dish I ate a long time ago, served by a man in a boot. I cannot remember the name, but I remember it tasted good. She smiled. Ramen, she said. The words sound familiar. Yes, I believe that is what it's called, he said. She reached for some paper and scribbled an address. Here you go. This place is a good place to go for the stuff. I occasionally go there myself. If you do go, keep your hood down and talk to them. That is the order. Do not try to hide in public. He nodded. He knew that it would be considered polite to do so. Now, another day, bed rest and good food. And then you get to the sessions with Hinata. Stay safe and give them a month or two. I am sure that you can wait that long. He could. He will find things to do to improve himself while he waits. It was an odd realization. He never had more than a day rest in his entire life. Either he was training his skills alone waiting for, or he was on a mission. Now he had a month or two to do things, and face his fear. His side burned briefly for a moment, and he mentally shut it out. He still felt a bit tired, and if he was stuck here for another day, he might as well use the bed rest available. Yes, that was a wise thing to do here. As he crashed into bed once again. Time skip. He felt unsure of himself. Everything about this felt wrong. As he hovered on the rooftop next to the ramen stand. The cover looked different, but it was here. As he saw the old man. As he could see him in the kitchen. It was the same man, but his hair was a bit grayer. Older, maybe. He felt odd, merely observing a target. No, he wasn't a target. He could make this observation up close, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to initiate contact. Normally, the only contact needed was by crossbow or tanto. As he touched the butt of his bow, just to make sure he was safe. He slowed his breathing as he descended into an alleyway. Why did he feel on edge? He dropped his hood anyway, as he felt a slight breeze caress his face. As he had a bit of scrub on his face that he hadn't shaved off. He didn't see the point of shaving anyway. He checked he had the funds on him to pay for the meal. He never really paid for food like this. As shinobis got a delivery service for what they wanted, the old Hokage had signed him up for that as soon as he left Root. This was a completely new experience. His body was healed now. He could use more practice in social interaction. This was logical. With that in mind, he took a few steps into the open street. No one really glanced at him as he walked by. Shinobi dressed strangely, and the kid could pull off the cloak look, as shinobis were used to the odd dress. Yes, after all, my guy was in a green jumpsuit running around. That was a sight you only need to see once. As he tried to walk calmly, fighting the instinct to run from cover to cover immediately. As he approached the ramen stand from the side, minimizing the amount of time the girl needed to see him, he berated himself for not taking a frontal approach. As he saw the selection of stools, he analyzed the one that would be best. He didn't want too much attention. A stool at the edge then. As he sat in the ice stool, as his feet leave the ground, He realized he was still looking away. As he turned towards the girl, she was looking at him with an odd look on her face. Something friendly. Some form of greeting. New contact, so be respectful. Not too respectful. But the girl came over as she leaned on the counter and smiled. "Hey, can I help you?" she said. He inwardly breathed a sigh of relief. She had opened conversation. Now he still need to do introductions. And he was asked a question. "Yes, I'm here to consume ramen." That was good. He stated his goal clearly. Surely, this was how people open conversation. The girl laughed. "Well, yes, this is a ramen stand. What kind of ramen would you like to eat?" She passed him a piece of paper as options were on it. As Naruto scanned it swiftly. Different varieties of ramen? He never expected this at all. What kind had he had before? He tried to think of selecting a dish. It was difficult. He needed to weigh up so many factors. Ingredients in the dish. Price. Size. I recommend a C. Food ramen myself. It's pretty tasty and my dad loved making it. She recommended it. Therefore it had to be good, given her type of work. As he checked the entry, there were several ingredients he never tried, but that was a part of eating, tasting new flavors. As he considered it, but he smelled it from the kitchen, as it made him ignore that factor. "Yes, I would like a large bowl, please." She smiled. "Coming right up," she said. She turned and walked in the kitchen, glancing at him as she made her way. Naruto checked under the counter. It was solid wood. How was your dish gonna be raised up for him to get his meal? He checked around for any Hyuga, as he didn't see any. As he activated his Byakugan, the ramen stand owners are talking, but neither of them were shinobi. Then how was the ramen gonna be raised up? She told him it was coming right up. She must mean that... Oh, he understand now. It must be a word play, like to say it was coming quickly. He smiled as he examined that kind of language of the way of speaking, and he broke it apart and now he understand it. As he waited and took in the smells of the kitchen, it was a pleasant smell. The girl then came out again, as she leaned on the counter and looked at him. "So, what's your name?" "Naruto." She smiled. "I am Ayam. I've been working here since I can remember. You're a shinobi, right?" "Yes. I too have been a shinobi since I can remember." "Really?" "Yes," said Naruto. She looked a little saddened by this. Are you an orphan?" He looked at her as she brushed away a few strands of her hair from her face under the chef hat. It was quite pleasant to look at. "Ayam, could you take over the kitchen? I'm in need of a lunch break." "Okay, Dad," she said. The man emerged with two broths of ramen noodles. As Naruto remembered the sight, but from lower down. Perhaps it was because he was shorter then. The man put them on the counter and offered Naruto a pair of chopsticks to eat with. "Thank you," said Naruto. As he started to eat, the flavor hit him at the first bite. It was better than his memory remembered. He ate slowly, savoring his own bite. Every single one of them. The man ate as well as he looked at Naruto. It was Naruto, wasn't it? "I'm Toki. You're probably too young to remember." As Naruto looked up, the man chuckled. "I remember you from all those years ago. A lot shorter, but the hair color is the same, and the whisker marks. Lady Snatty also mentioned that you might be coming. You seem to have grown up a little since then." Naruto quietly pulsed his chakra. There was no genjutsu around. The man was likely genuine. He continued to eat. "I remember you ate really fast when you were very small." As Naruto started to pick up on his eating, "You haven't changed in that regard. Now, tell me about yourself." Naruto nodded as he swallowed. "I'm a shinobi. I don't really understand people properly, and I recently undertook a long mission in isolation. I do as I am ordered. Sometimes I stare at a star and fire, and things that are interesting. I'm a ghost," he said. The man let out a long whistle as he ate a bit more of his food. "Sounds interesting. You're not, well, normal." "I noticed that. Have you ever bought anything from anywhere before?" "No." The man nodded. "Well, that explains a lot. Whatever happened to you since last time I saw you must have been crazy. You don't seem to have grown up in the traditional way at all. Were you trained by some secret organization or something?" He quirked the eyebrow as he said it, his face in a smile. Naruto realized the attempt of humor as he tried to laugh. It sounded very odd and strange, as it startled the old man a bit. "Quite the laugh you have there. You don't laugh much, do you?" "No," said Naruto, as he realized he was running out of noodles, and he started draining broth from the bowl. This was a pleasant meal, certainly not nutritiously balanced, but he kept on going. The man smiled. "I take it that you enjoyed it." "I did," said Naruto. Of that he was certain. His stomach felt like there was more room. The thought of having more made him a bit giddy inside. "I would like another bowl." The man smiled. "What flavor this time?" he asked. The type you had, please. It makes sense you prefer a good flavor. You being the chef, said Naruto. The man smiled. Another Mr. Ramen. Make it a big one. On the way, she said. The man did not press for details or force Naruto to bring up darker times. He was a pleasant person to be around while eating. As he realized they were the first civilians he ever extended non-violent contact with, another figure came in and sat down on the stool. As the person only had one arm, but the figure was quite young. The older man recognized him. The young man looked familiar, and Naruto recognized who it was. He met his father after all. Shikamaru, good to see you. How are things? Shikamaru shrugged a bit. As usual. Some of the deer got started this morning, and I had to ease them around and calm them. It didn't take too long, but it was a bother. Toki sighed. Sounds almost troublesome. As Shikamaru sighed, Toki playfully punched him in the arm. I'll get usual for you, I know how you like it. As he retreated in the kitchen, and conversation started with him and his daughter. Shikamaru then turned. I wonder when I would get to meet you, Naruto. How do you know my name, Shikamaru? Shikamaru smiled. The same way you heard mine. People mention it, especially after the mission. He touched the stump of his arm that remained. Your dedication to survive the battle was impressive. I heard you were forced to detonate a tag at point blank range to win the battle. Shikamaru shrugged once again. Out of options, really. It wasn't my first choice plan. Understandable, said Naruto. Shikamaru nodded. So you killed Sasuke. I'll admit, it was quite bothersome that after all our team went through, you didn't bring him back. Naruto looked at him. It sounded odd, like he didn't really mean it. I have no options, said Naruto. I lacked the military strength to fight off the strength of the alien sound. It took 3 years to poison him. Shikamaru sighed. Well, I appreciate you dealing with him. He left and he caused a lot of damage. All of us will never be the same again. As Naruto remembered Kiba saying something very similar to that. Naruto stopped as he didn't understand what he felt. Bad? Was bad the right word? He knew the pain he had felt, but he did not know it. He felt like he needed to do something or say something. You're just as they said. You're not entirely sure what you're feeling right now, are you? True. I did not expect you to have such a grasp on emotion. Certainly you're intelligent, beyond your appearance and speech. Shikamaru shook his head a bit as he smiled slightly. Whatever. I prefer the relaxed life, even if I do miss my team, and miss my arm a bit. I have uses beyond a direct confrontation. A specialist like yourself. In theory, we could form an efficient team. Naruto considers none combat weaknesses. You are an intelligent specialist, he said. Pretty much. I'm interested by meeting you. You're a bit like I expected, but the fact that you do not run your wood, that's unexpected. I was ordered not to. Well, that's expected. The Hokage is a bit touchy when she wants to be. Toki appeared with a couple bowls of ramen. Shikamaru nodded to the man, who decided to keep out of the conversation. They began to eat as Shikamaru thought between mouthfuls. So then, I'm curious as to your training. You weren't part of a graduation class, and you're not from a clan. So that means you were trained privately. Naruto felt impressed. This guy was like Shino, probably even smarter, as he thought about things logically. Of course, if you had a private Jonin sensei, they would have been introduced. In fact, you only appear suddenly, so no visible sensei. A huge specialist. And from what they said to be believed, you're incredibly tough. In fact, too tough. You withstand pain and you make choices other people can't. That was true. He never considered himself to be that tough. Pain was just not a, well, obstacle in his path. So that leaves nowhere conventional for your training, said Shikamaru. So either the former Hokage set up a harsh training environment for you, or someone else did. Or you're not who you say you are. Two options, said Shikamaru. Naruto knew that he couldn't tell the full truth. I was privately trained by Anfu. Technically true. It might have been considered harsh. I don't think the Hokage really liked it. That was true. That is the reason Hokage brought him in the light. He never liked Naruto training with the root. Interesting. I would find out more, but that would be too troublesome. You're a mystery though. I am a ghost. Shikamaru smiled. An interesting concept in more ways than one. He got up as he placed some money on the counter. As he gave Naruto a quick salute as he headed off. He's a good lad, said Toki as he picked up the money. Shame about the mission that ended his frontline life. Were you on that mission? Naruto felt a bit uncomfortable, but running away wouldn't be the right way to do things. I was. The words sounded poor and weak coming from his mouth. And Toki looked concerned. Oh, I apologize for asking. It sounds like even you came out of it with bad memories. I apologize for thinking anything less. That was true enough. The words were far too close to the truth. He felt it tingling in his side begin, as he tried to ignore it. As he had to reach down though, to calm it. Must be a wound from the mission, said Toki. Indeed, said Naruto. It was close enough to the truth even though he didn't know what it was, for him to not feel like a liar. He reached for his money and paid silently, as the man gave him a short nod as Naruto made his way off. Toki turned towards the kitchen. Poor lad. He's as hurt as Narisama says he was. Good thing she gave me good warning he was coming. Aion nodded. That mission changed a lot. We lost one of our favorite people, and it affected several others. Toki stirred the pot. As they wait for the next customer, it wouldn't take too long. You think he's cute, don't you? I am. Focus on the food. So she wouldn't show the blush that she had on her face now. I think he'll be back, you know, said Toki. I am sigh. Now he'll be on this for days. Meanwhile, for Naruto, it took at least 15 seconds for him to get to alleyway, then on a roof with his hood up. He ducked into the shadow of a vent and cast his genjutsu. He was invisible, and unless anyone was looking for him, he wouldn't be found. He was safe here. He was safe with a touch of shadow and some cover anywhere. He felt the pain in his side drop away slowly. As Naruto decided to reflect on things a bit, first thing his eye, he had received it without, well, agreeing to anything. As he remembered losing his original eye, as he just saw the kunai coming, and then it struck him. He felt pain but he never cried out. He just went down and he collapsed. The pain was too much as he passed out. He then woke up, and he was seen differently. Lord Danzo had talked to him. That is when he told him about the seal. His lord had encouraged him to remove the memory, to get rid of the thought that his eye was removed. He was making the hand signs but he had stopped. His lord had looked at him oddly, but did not force him. It was one of the few choices that Naruto had ever had. He never thought about it at that age. His lord had made a mistake with him, yet it was his failing that made him use a seal. And now he didn't know the reason why, as he considered his lord's final word in the base. At the moment he wondered where he was, and why he was not contacted. He was almost certain he should have been contacted by now. He could contact him himself though, he had time, and he would definitely count as training. Although he felt a bit of doubt, the last words linger with him what the man said to him. Do not trust anyone. Certainly, that had to apply to his lord as well, right? As he barely remembered his pre-training years. He did remember being taken by the Hokage for ramen. Then he was taken to the route base by Danzo. There he had trained and went on missions. He had learned his craft with bow and tanto blade. He learned how to hide without being seen. He had learned how to distract and cause illusions. He had been drilled to perfection to a point where instinct was to hide and complete the mission no matter what. Those principles were correct, but they were not effective against extremely powerful targets. He had to improve his skills to make them more effective. Regardless, Root had made him into what he had been. Ruthless, calculating, and efficient in the dark. Then everything changed. The Hokage pulled him into the regular forces. That was a change. He never appreciated at the time, but it was the start of something that he would never understood. How could he understand something he never explored before? How could he understand the growing starts of emotions? He slowed his thoughts. He was not in charge of his emotions just yet. The memory eater was clear proof of that. If he had to seal the way, it means that he couldn't control his emotions to what he had did or what he had done. He still didn't know what it was. Still, he knew more now. He knew of happiness, he knew of anger. He knew of others he could not name quickly, but he now understood. But was everything as logical as it seems? Meeting Team 8, was that a coincidence? Or was the Hokage playing him? Was Danzo doing the same thing as well? As he wondered if Lord Danzo has been doing everything since the wave mission. He remembered when he was chided after the wave mission, but nothing had come of it. Was there a meeting that he did not go to or something? Everything seemed just to fall apart. The two of them must have worked together and communicate with each other. After all, the old Hokage knew everything about Root. He knew of his existence. That made him recall the meeting that Tsunade had with Danzo, where he was brainwashed or forced to lie that he was Root. Now the communication was split. They did not know about each other. He knew about her, but she did not know what was in the darkness. Even if she had a suspicion, she did not fully know. And the conclusion was obvious. Neither side could be effective now. They were hidden from each other. They couldn't work properly together. Root forces would be seen as hostile if they were found, and the regular forces would be killed. For them to keep silent about it, Konoha could end up fighting itself. His thoughts didn't stop there. It went deeper. If neither side knew the other, then there was no trust at all. So now both Root and Konoha were weakened. And that was the opposite of what his former lord wanted. His former lord. It was true. He was no longer a Root agent. He reached for his headband as he looked at it. He had dulled the metal so it wouldn't shine, but it still had features. He was a Konoha shinobi now. Ever since he first showed emotions, he was a Konoha shinobi. After all, he now had friends. He had people that showed interest in him, beyond his training. People like Hinata, Uncle, Shino, Kiba to a degree. It was interesting, even Shizune and Tsunade could count. Talon and his team too. Kakashi certainly. And Baka. So, he was no longer a part of Root. Why did he consider Danzo his lord? He wasn't now, he was just a former leader, his previous commander. Yet he felt that the man was more to him than an authority figure. He felt he had a deeper connection to the man. When he entered the regular forces, he felt the need to talk to the man, when it wasn't even necessary. He looked out for his advice, his help. It was like Danzo was his predecessor, the one that came before him and done these things already. And that is why he had a brief intellect on what to do. Both of them were focused on being hidden and performing their part in the darkness. And now he almost felt abandoned by the man. As he now felt conflicted, as he saw on one side the man that had helped him, the one that grew him, the one that trained him, the one that taught him, the one that gave him a purpose. Root had helped Konoha greatly after the Kyuubi attack. As they went on missions that Konoha ninjas did not, it had melded together perfectly. The Hokage mind and Danzo will. For his Root agents to carry out things that regular ninjas would not do. As things became more peaceful, their interaction had lessened, but they still worked together in the darkness. Naruto did his share, yes he did. Figures that need to be removed, they were removed, without question. As he recalled his final Root mission, the Daimyo's son, as he just had to place some document in the room and end the man's life, and that was it. Then the Hokage had died after his incarceration in the regular forces. Then that left Danzo. He denied the organization existence and cut Naruto loose. He knew the man had no choice, but it still felt strange to him. He had been abandoned, and then he disappeared for years at the hidden zone. What had Root done? He analyzed this, his thoughts becoming full circle. They did nothing. He rubbed his eyes as he felt tired. It had been some time now since he slept. As he made his way, he had to find a sensei, and he had his first therapy session to go through. But there was a thought in the back of his mind. His former leader was now a threat, a large one at that. It was just mid-afternoon, but he still went home to get some sleep. Time skip. Itachi lowered his hand as the dragon chakra had sucked all the chakra from the woman as her body collapsed on the ground. Someone, probably Zetsu. He felt his body feel heavier from the dream. Even the two tails, it was significant. Every time it felt more and more, like part of him was being lost to every ceiling. He knew his fellow members would feel in the ceiling as well, some more than others. Konan in particular looked paler than he ever see her, as she sank to her knees and took deep breaths. Kisame on the other hand simply shrugged it off. The man had so much chakra it was like it was unlimited. With each member lost, it took more and more out of them. He felt like he wanted to cough, but he resisted. Any sign of weakness would be known. As he glanced towards the newest member, the man behind the orange mask, he had controlled his surprise at this, but that wasn't all that unexpected. After all, the man had helped him before, and he was certainly strong enough to be considered a threat. He suspected the man was a real power behind the Akatsuki, as he could see Zetsu favor the man above Pain, who still, unmoving as he come into the statue, as one of the eyes started to open up. He now was cursing loudly about something, probably about spending time doing this, was keeping him away from his religious duties. The man was a special kind of insane. Kakazu's expression was unreadable as ever. He eyed his zombie brothers, as he knew how he would take out one of them, certainly. Both at the same time would be difficult to accomplish. Separating two of them were certainly key. They descended off the statue into the chamber. As he looked at the statue, it was an ugly thing, twisted, to look like it was screaming in pain. He wondered what could have spawned a hideous thing like that. The Rinnegan had many powers he was unaware of, but he was happy with his own eyes. His vision blurred a bit from a chakra drain, as he too took a deep breath. Zetsu then rose up from the floor before Pain. The Kumo shinobis, ever so stupid, aren't they? They have ceased searching for her, and now it's too late. Thank you, Zetsu. We now only stand 3 beats away from the completion of our goal, and peace. Can I get back to praising Jashi now? He hungers for fresh blood, said Hidan. Patience, Hidan. We still have work to do. What do we know of the remaining beasts? Zetsu smiled on the white half of his face. Kumo, hold the 8 tails. Powerful. He will prove a difficult target. He's in tune with the beast. Kumo is nervous and angry at the moment. It will be best for us to withhold for the time being. Itachi agreed on that front. Killer Bee was not a man to tangle with, unless you had special skills. The 9 tails So elusive. Is Jinchuriki's hidden, quiet, hard to pin down? That was true. Kakazu spoke, really? All Jinchurikis are powerhouse of strength and aggression when we face them. All call upon their captive when we face them, and all of them are capable of causing massive damage. How can one hide from you, Zetsu? Or are you simply useless? Zetsu turned towards him. You couldn't find your own heart, even if you had 4 other to compare with. Do not insult me, mercenary. Hidan put his sight in front of Kakazu, and the man turned on him instead. Want to be ripped apart again, you religious idiot? No, but Zetsu won't be any fun for you, and you know that. Kakazu subsided. Hidan was right. He could rip Zetsu apart with ease. Pain's voice echoed once again in the chambers. What of the 3 tails? We await its reformation. Pain looked around. Who shall go to capture it once it awakes? Itachi considered the issue at hand. Pain and a go, as he held the hidden ring together. That meant that Konan didn't go anywhere either. It would take something special for him to leave. That left himself, Kisame, the zombie brother, Zetsu, and the masked man. Time to test some thoughts then. Itachi spoke. Why doesn't our newcomer prove himself? Who are you again? The man spun around to face him. I'm Tobi. I look forward to working with you, Itachi-senpai-sama. That was not his real self. Itachi knew that well enough. He had been aided by the man in the past. Kisame laughed at the man's tone. You must be an idiot. Tobi is not an idiot. Kisame lifted his sword and placed it on his shoulder, with a smile on his face. The intent was obvious. The masked man bristled as he waved his arms around, the large sleeve of the Akatsuki clothing bristling in the air. Nasty fishman isn't very friendly. Tobi wants a friendly senpai, like Itachi-senpai. Itachi realized the man acting was so bad and over the top, it would actually work against the Akatsuki. If they had one weakness, it was that a lot of them were too arrogant for their own good. Well, they had their reason. The zombie brothers couldn't die. Kisame was insanely strong, and Pain had a Rinnegan, even if he wouldn't give, well, any information about it. So none of them think that this goofball was a threat. I recommend Hidan and Kakazu to go and collect the 3 tails. While Deidara would have been ideal for the task, I believe that these 2 would fight this foe the best. Kakazu, multiple element barrages, could take better advantage of the beast than I or Kisame can. Kakazu turned towards Itachi, his face unreadable. Are you a coward, Itachi? Do you think because I hold that minor advantage, Hidan and I would be the better foe to defeat it? It is not a matter of skill, Kakazu. It's a matter of motivation. I suspect that Konoha is going to find out the beast is to be reformed, and they will send strong teams. You know about the bounties that can be collected from high-ranking Konoha shinobi. There will be plenty of dirty work for Hidan to do as well. There was a nasty glint in Katsu's eyes as he calculated the possible riches. The man disgusted Itachi. He fought for nothing but money that would be useless in the end. What was the point of money if you sold your soul for it? As for Hidan, immortality that required the user to constantly kill. If anything, Hidan was just a bloodthirsty maniac. He could get these 2 to be removed quickly if he played his cards correctly. Obviously, as the 8 tails and 9 tails are beyond our grasp, it will be possible to send 2 teams. Perhaps Leader Sama could join the mission. Itachi fixed his gaze on the leader, who returned his gaze back to Itachi. My purpose is not the simple capture of beasts, Itachi. You know that my rule required me to remain with those that worship their god. Your rain pawns would not miss their god for a month. Perhaps if you team up with your latest member to guide his wisdom. The man's gaze intensified. You seem insistent, Itachi. Has the death of your brother affected you so badly? The man didn't raise his voice or anything. His voice was just deep, slow, and normal and calm. That made it all the more insulting to Itachi. That had nothing to do with the situation. His death is unfortunate, but not important. The tension in the room started to get more intense. Zetsu knew all the secrets. Zetsu seemed to know more than you. It is an odd dynamic when 2 S-rank shinobis look like they were about to go off when they were in one room. Normally, Itachi was a peacemaker. Now there was no one neutral in the room, except for one, as Tobi ran between them, flailing his long sleeves everywhere. Tobi doesn't like fighting. No, he doesn't. Stop being so mean to Itachi-senpai, Leader Sama-kun. As he bowed repeatedly to Pain. But Itachi kept his gaze on Pain. As this is what he wanted. He wouldn't back down. Everyone's on edge. Everyone's slightly worried that everything wasn't quite right in the Akatsuki. He was living on the edge of destruction and Itachi found himself enjoying it more than he thought. Tobi looked rapidly from man to man, waving his hand in front of Itachi's face to try and break the gaze. But Itachi kept his gaze locked on Pain. But Konan turned Pain away from the confrontation. He stayed turned away as he gently lowered Konan's grip. Zetsu, find the location of the Three Tails revival. Then return when it is prepared for capture. Itachi, you will accompany Kakazu and Hidan when the time comes. With or without Kisame? Without. Kisame frowned at that. This is unorthodox of you, Pain. Kisame started up. You have always instructed us to stay as a pair. What have you done to further the plans? Pain spun around to face Kisame, but Konan stood between them. Enough! This bickering helps our enemies and stand in the way of peace. Please desist from arguing. Paper wings unflared around her to make her look so much larger, as the wings flapped gently and peacefully. Itachi nodded. There was no sense in overplaying his hands here. He could not draw too much suspicion on himself. He turned and walked towards the meditation chambers of the hideout. Kisame followed behind him. That was interesting, Itachi. You seem more talkative than usual. In truth, Kisame was the closest thing to a friend that Itachi had in the organization. I am beginning to distrust Pain, Itachi said. That's certainly interesting. Is it his cowardness that caused you to distrust him? Consider, Kisame. How much combat have we seen? The beasts that we have captured. The missions that we have undertaken for this organization. The risks we have taken. What has he done? He provided us with mission and safety. But for what purpose? He will not tell us for what reason he gathered beasts. I am distrustful of his endgame. Will he simply cast us aside at the end? Kisame looked thoughtful for a moment. Well, he did capture the Six Tails, a weakling, a maggot of a Jinjulke, a broken-hearted fool. The man didn't even fight before being defeated. Pain took on the weakest chance while we fight. It's possible, but I don't worry about it. It's me and Samihata. If he turns on us, then we will turn on him and destroy him. Itachi didn't like the show, but he wanted to smirk. Indeed, he said, as the both of them quietly made their way. Time skip. Naruto watches target. The man did resemble the third Hokage. Apparently, this man was an expert in chakra flow and channeling chakra into weaponry. As Naruto watched the man took a long drag on that tobacco stick, he did not understand the use in that, as he tried it before, but it was just a mild antidepressant. The smell was too much and it made him feel a bit ill. He had followed direction from a note that Hokage had given him. They had been very specific. She told him to not have his hood up, and he must introduce himself. He dropped from the trees and walked towards the man. Again, he felt anxiety about being in the open as he walked towards the man. He felt like activating some Byakugan to make sure no one was trying to kill him, but he forced himself to just glance around constantly. The man looked up at Naruto approach as he smiled, tossing the bud aside as he crushed under his foot. He extended a hand. Asuma Sarutobi, interesting to meet you. Naruto hesitated a bit before he took the hand and allowed it to be shaken. He still found this custom to be very odd. Naruto, Lady Hokage ordered me to meet you in chakra channeling. The man nodded. She mentioned that you could use some training. I do have a few questions for you, though, which I want answers still before I agree to train you. A test? Well, I suppose. I agree to your terms, said Naruto. The man smirked. List your skill set and normal modes of operation. Stealth, genjutsu, poisons, assassinations, long-range combat, using crossbow, minor skills with Tonto blade, and blowgun weaponry, master of both solid and non-solid, transformation, and knowledge of the Sharingan Jutsu. The man let out a long whistle. Any other skills I should know about? Naruto considered. Lady Snad had clearly briefed him, but could he trust the man? None that comes to mind, Naruto said. The man nodded. Good. Next question. Chakra nature. Unknown, said Naruto. The man reached into his jacket and pulled out a strip of pale yellow paper. We'll use this in a moment. Third question. Hardest mission accomplished today. Retrieve or kill mission. S rank. The man raised his eyebrow. S rank? Who was that target? As Naruto wondered how much was he about to tell about the mission and himself. I am unsure whether I am allowed to give you that information, Asuma-san. The man didn't react to the words, but Naruto see a twitch, like he understand which mission it was. Alright, I'm done with my questions. I already know all the answers you were going to give, except for Chakra Nature 1 though. Then why do you ask? Naruto said. To see how much you were willing to reveal. What you didn't reveal interests me more than you did. Nobody's around and I would like you to understand that you can trust me with anything you might have. Naruto nodded, although he wouldn't just trust a man like that. I read your files. You were the one that took out Sasuke Uchiha. That mission was bad for my students. Shikamaru left the Shinobi forces. The regular one, Choji, took a real pounding and a work with other teams when he needs to. Ino got very scared as well when a lot of her friends came back scarred or worse. Then again, you don't care, because you only met one of them. I do not deny that. That is correct. Asuma sighed as he sat down, indicating for Naruto to do the same, so he did. Indeed. I'm surprised at your actions though. You committed friendly fire. Most time people stop and lose all faith in themselves after that. That must have been... The tingling near the side grew a bit as he held up a hand. I do not wish to be reminded of it. The man nodded. I understand. I lost close friends before. The sooner you let go, less it will hurt. I will not, until I know his name, said Naruto. The man nodded. In that much, I think you're an idiot. But that is not why I'm here. I am impressed by your dedication to the mission. You killed him off in Orochimaru base. That is someone no one else could achieve. How did that feel in a way, learning that you succeed in the kill? Naruto forced himself to recall the events, provided that he was careful with his memory. He wouldn't need to remember too much. He remembered the Rat Lord came to give him the information. As he remembered, he had paused and took a fresh breath of air in a stale veins. That breath had felt more satisfying than anything else. I felt like I accomplished something more than true worth. I feel the word would be triumphant. Treasure that feeling. It doesn't happen too often in Shinobi's life. Now, the other bit of information you didn't tell me is that you are Jinchuriki. That I can understand. I'm surprised at how you have turned out though. You're certainly not normal. Surprise made me deadly, as you might expect. The man smiled. Good. You understand well in your role, and you understand the good way of doing things. Now then, let's move on to actual training, shall we? Naruto nodded as he passed the test. Asuma passed in the paper. Naruto took off the combat glove to get full contact with the paper. Channeled some chakra into the paper, and let's see what affinity you are, shall we? Naruto did so, but nothing happened. More chakra. Naruto subbed enough chakra to put out a solid transformation, then enough for one of his cyclones. The paper was reacting but faintly. The paper darkened at first, then further and further. Asuma watched in fascination. This was an interesting twist on normal way things happen. Why did he assume that this boy will have a normal, simple affinity? Maybe a wind user like himself, or perhaps fire or lightning. Well, those might fit worse to his style. This was unpredictable. Naruto kept going. Wonder what it meant. The paper was nearly entirely black except for a shivering white at the end. Asuma knew a bit about chakra theory, but this was not in the usual guides. He knew what it looked like, but this paper wasn't meant to test for that. He pulled another sip of paper. Try again with this paper. Naruto did so, as he rapidly darkened the next strip. There was still that thin, white as well. Asuma pulled a third piece and performed it himself, as the paper split into two pieces and burned a little, signifying his wind and slight fire affinity. He sighed. Chakra-reactive paper was expensive to produce, and more expensive to buy from a consumer point. There was probably a medium or two roll that was produced and made into Konoha. It was just enough to test all shinobis that want to find their elemental nation. It was a reason why they only tested people that wished to learn it, and not just every genin. He reached for the instruction that came in the paper and scanned it quickly. The effect for the 5 great elemental nations were known, but you have different rare elements. He raised the eyebrow and the effect that he saw meant to go was now explained. He put the guide back in the pocket. You have a rare nature. That much is apparent. I take that I'm not guided by one of the main natures, said Naruto. Asuma inspected once again. There were very tiny cuts around the edge of the paper. Technically, a weak nature, but something was there, something more overwhelming. You have a very weak wind affinity. But, apparently, you have primary yin chakra makeup. Yin chakra is used in genjutsu, is it not? Yes, it is composed of the spiritual portion of your chakra, where the yang, as he pointed towards the shining white, is the physical end of a person. So you are producing a lot more yin than yang, and that is unusual. I am given to believe that most people produce a usual balanced split. Naruto considered possible reasons. It might be a side effect of me holding the 9-tailed beast. Could it be possible that more yin chakra was sealing to me than yang chakra? Asuma chuckled. Don't ask me, kid. I'm not a steel master. What I do know is this is gonna make your training very different from what I thought it would be. What was your plan for the use of chakra flow? Naruto pulled off the crossbow and pointed towards the wire as Asuma stood the bow. I intend to use chakra flow on my crossbow and bolts to improve the effectiveness, whether it be more powerful by sharpening chakra around the bolts, or perhaps silencing the mechanism completely. Asuma thought about that. Charging a bolt with chakra would make it explode or catch fire. What could yin chakra do to a bolt? He would have to ask Kurina at some point tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning when you remember to. Yin chakra could have some interesting uses. I will consult a genjutsu expert. I'll try and get her to the next training session. Do you mean Kurina sensei, said Naruto? Yes, she mentioned you turned up on some of her missions. Did you really get her that angry? We did not share common viewpoint until sometime after meeting. He laughed as he pulled another cigarette and lighted. She really didn't like you at first, but she seemed a bit fonder after a while, as he joined some smoke. Why do you actively inhale smoke, Naruto asked? Surely, there are downsides to the habit. Do you want to be trained? Yes, Naruto said. Then, do not mention that. I get enough nagging as it is. Let's get to some control exercises, while I consult the best way to use your chakra. But guys, if you ain't subscribed right here, if you want the next part of this to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto had the Rennie Tensegon over on Anime King 3, and enjoy that, guys. And he also posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto was too advanced for his own age over on Anime King 2, guys. And over on Anime King, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto became the God of Lightning. So go ahead and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, guys, I'm out for now. See you guys very soon. Peace. Well, tomorrow. Bye, guys.